even if it costs a little bit more. So I think we really just wanted to formalize the policy and say if the chief, because when there's an emergency or disaster, the chief's basically in charge of the county. If he declares there's enough of an emergency, we automatically inform Mr. Schiebel that this is a case where for the next week or two, it goes on.
Yeah, definitely needs to be a defined period.
It should be 7, and they should have a business license with the county to do it.
Got to be county, right.
It's got to have a county business license so that you know they're legitimate. They're not just, because people descend on this place or any place when there's an emergency, like, you know, everybody, they're going door to door, actually asking people, you want to clean up, you want to clean up.
Fly-by-night will come in with a chainsaw and do that type of work.
Chief, you want to add something, because I see you up and I...
Yeah, you basically are the one that made it. Now, I saw Mark Garnett that day.
Yeah, we were.
But please understand, but for us to declare an emergency, as you're talking about, we would have to exceed our local resources. So that storm the other week, we wouldn't have declared an emergency on that. It's stipulated in code for me what I can say is an emergency.
You can declare a local emergency?
I can declare a local emergency.
But
it has to follow some parameters, and that parameter is we have exceeded the capability of our local resources.
Oh.
And in that storm, there was not enough support to declare a local emergency. So I don't put the burden on that declaration of emergency, because that is an official action
that goes to the state
by the county, and you have to support it after the fact.
So there would be something that you would say, or you could say, that there appears to be a significant damage to the county, and that you feel that the cleanup would be best suited if we handled it the way we're discussing.
I could make a determination on a significant event and leave it at that. Separate that from an emergency, which is code.
So all right. So we're talking, yeah, it's kind of semantics,
and that was where
but
we
that's
were
fine.
in staff discussions.
So when the chief determines that there's a significant weather event, he'll get in touch with Mr. Schiebel, and depending upon the significance, it'll be a week or 14 days? That'll be by policy. Well, Mr. Schiebel, we're going to ask you to set up the policy.
I wouldn't go too long, because that happens pretty quick. People come in, clean up, 7, 8, 9 days. You were cleaned up in 2.
Oh, no. Oh, no. And I never want to see a chainsaw again. So, I mean, we just want to establish the policy, because I think it was, well, wherever the storm was the last time, it was.
We did it for Bowling Green.
Yeah,
somewhere else.
That was different. It was significant, and we opened up for the town to haul in, so they wouldn't have to load, dump, and reload.
Right.
All right.
But that was a different situation.
Can we just have you work on the policy as the direction we've given you?
Right. We just needed a few things that we wanted to clarify. One was that we really couldn't declare a local state of emergency, because that's
significant event.
Significant event.
Significant weather event.
The chief will hear about due to the fire and rescue being out and about, and then we will leave it open. Probably we'll discuss this, but between 10 and 14 days. But I think it does need to be a fairly tight time frame, or you'll just be having regular people having trees trimmed up and the haulers hauling in on it. And plus the business license, that was one of the things we thought of too, to narrow it down to local haulers.
Right, it's just local, because I think most of the people that I saw were local, except for the few that came by and dropped their cards in the door. But most of them were local, so.
Mr. Parton, we good?
You got everything you need? Okay, so let's approve E and G, and we're good for the consent agenda.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second? Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Underwood, motion made by Mr. Seeley, seconded by Mr. Underwood. All in favor of approving E and G from the consent, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Public comments and public hearing, we have to wait till 7:30.
You could do 7, because it's quick, and they're all here.
All right.
We have to take action on 6? We have to take action on 6?
We have to take action on 6. Yeah, let's do agenda item number 6. Agenda item number 6 is the application for Mr. Dillon in Milford, and he did not complete the last step or two of his application process. Mr. Fincham, has he?
Yes, sir. The supplemental information that the board is looking for did not come in prior to the preparation of the board packet. So the appropriate action would be for the board to defer this item to a future date.
Okay.
I would also suggest that the board vote to accept the request for deferral in item number 5.
Item 5, right. Okay, let's do that. Thank you, Mr. Fincham. Item 5, the applicant requested a deferral. Did he give us a date? Or I need to see it.
Your August meeting.
August 20,
Yeah, August 12th is now moved to.
August 26th now. Okay. All right, is there a motion to, that's you, is there a motion to move agenda item number 5 deferred to August 26th?
So moved, Mr. Chairman. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion made by Mr. Seeley, second by Mr. Akers. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. That motion carries unanimously. Need a motion to defer agenda item number 6 to August 26th again to give him another month or so.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Seeley, seconded by Mr. Black. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The motion carries unanimously too. All right, we will,
7 should be quick.
all right. Agenda item number 7 is a request from electoral board to relocate Port Royal voting polling location from the Port Royal Volunteer Department to the Port Royal Town Hall. Mr. Nunley, are you going to take care of that one? Sir. Well, good to have you and the registrar here. Nice to see you folks.
Good to see you all. So this is something we've been working on. We were holding off on this so that we could coordinate the new voter registration cards with the change of the precinct lines with the annexation.
Mm-hmm.
So
Boundary adjustment.
boundary, excuse me.
Kind of sensitive there.
So basically, this is just out of convenience for the fire department. As you know, I'm a retired firefighter, and at one point we housed a voting precinct in our house, and it's, I tell people, it's kind of like having people move into your living room for a day and then not allow you to come in.
Right.
So this I think will work better for everybody.
Okay, and we no longer have to get pre-approval from the Department of Justice,
That is correct. We fall under their same guidelines, but we do not need pre-approval.
and we need to basically move this to public hearing, and after the public hearing, we can make it an action.
Yes, sir.
So your request is to put this on our agenda for public hearing,
Yes, sir.
okay? Board members have any questions? Mr. Taylor, specifically? Okay. All right, is there a motion to move agenda item number 7 to public hearing? Can we do August 26th, or is that going to make us have a lot? How much time do you need?
They need 60 days.
60 days prior to the election.
So that would be very close, but that would work.
Yes, sir.
Okay, August 26th, is there a motion to that effect?
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion is made by Mr. Underwood, seconded by Mr. Seeley, that we hold public hearing on August 26th for the relocation to Port Royal voting poll location, which will give you enough time to make it, so.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. So that motion carried unanimously. Thank you very much. We'll see you on the 26th.
Thank you.
All right. Can we do 10 real Earth minutes? Well, all right. 10 real Earth minutes. So we'll be back 7:35-ish. Okay. So we'll take a break. At 7:30 or thereabouts is when we conduct our public comment section. At this time, anyone from the county who would like to make a statement for the board can do so. We limit those comments to 3 minutes, but you can discuss any issue that's not a public hearing. The only public hearing we have is for a zoning ordinance to change the height at the public utility location. So at this point, we will declare public comment section to be open. Is there anyone who would like to speak to the board on any matter? Is there anyone who would like to speak? Is there anyone from the county who would like to speak? Come on, Jervis, come on up. How are you today, sir?
Good. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Jervis Harrison Silver Companies, Fredericksburg, Virginia. In November of last year, we expressed, this is about the abandonment of Burma Road. We expressed our, the owner of the property adjoining Burma Road, the 1,200-acre Moss Neck Farm property, expressed his support of the abandonment of Burma Road. And in making that expression of support, he had asked that the board ensures that there be an adequate turnaround or cul-de-sac at the point where the road was to be closed. And so we appreciate your re-looking at that, taking another look at that to make sure it is an adequate and safe turnaround. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harrison. Is there anyone else who would like to speak to the board regarding any matter? Mrs. D, how are you?
Awesome.
I knew you would be.
I would just like to say hello and thank you. July 1st was my one-year anniversary, and I've passed out an annual report that I've newly created, and I just would like to just show you what we've done and let you know that this remains the best job ever and the best county ever, and I just wanted to say thank you.
Well, thank you. And I think we all have that, so we do appreciate it. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Yes, Ms. Sneed.
My name is Ellen Sneed. I live on Route 17, and thank you for the opportunity of coming to you again. And I'd like to thank my friend from VDOT here. I'd like to greet him. The issue that I spoke with to you before is the same issue, and I would just like to iterate. First of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Taylor for bringing up the Burma Road situation. You approved the privatization of Burma Road, and I honestly believe you do what you do for the benefit of the people of Caroline County, and I'm not here to complain about your decision. You made that decision, and now it's privatized, and VDOT has proclaimed it adequate. And that's the way it is. Now, before, you could go all the way down and turn around, and you could use any vehicle. But now, if someone is driving down the road and they want to visit, there's a historical plaque that says Moss Neck Manor, and that's going to be there for generations and hundreds of years to come. First, there's a sign that says Caroline County, and then there's a sign that says, and there's plenty of people in the Civil War district interest that look for these places. It says Burma Road. Oh, Burma Road. They happen to be driving a recreation vehicle with a trailer behind it. Trust me, Mr. Taylor, you got your SUV turned around. You can't turn around. Now, maybe Mr. VDOT will say different, but you cannot, unless you get on private property of Mr. Silver or something. But it's dangerous. If someone pulls in, they can't come out unless you're in a single vehicle. Now, I understand, you know, it's true, and I understand VDOT's point. It's a little rural road. It's a little rural road in Caroline County. But you know what? It's not. It's Moss Neck Manor. I don't own Moss Neck Manor. But you know what? Gil Shelton's not going to own it 20 years or 30 years from now either. Someone else will have that property. But the historic presence of it is important. Burma Road is important. It's just, and when you say you do traffic counts, there's 5 people that go down that road.
Mrs. Sneed, you got to turn to the mic so we can hear you.
Sorry. When you say that there's 5 people that come down that road, that's true. But it's an historic road. It's a road that takes you places. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Were you hearing me when I was?
When you turn around, we can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. But basically, that's all I wanted to say. And I just wanted to thank Mr. Taylor for making an effort that you could see this, and I don't know that there's anything you can do, but Burma Road is an important road. It's an historic place, and it's a beautiful, beautiful area, and I just hate to see no outlet and only local traffic. I mean, that's very, I mean, it's a historic spot, local traffic. How did this happen? Is there anything you can do once you make a decision? And you gentlemen didn't know this would happen, did you? You didn't know this. You just thought, well, we'll make it just, Mr. Shelton stood up here himself and said, we'll make it just like it was. Well, gentlemen, I don't think he'd even give you the property now that you need to make an adequate turnaround. But his property value has increased dramatically because now he has a private road. So we've given a lot to Mr. Shelton in this deal. What do we have now, gentlemen? You have to make an agreement so that the bus can get around? I'm sorry, but this is not Caroline. This is not what's right for Caroline County. Something wrong's been done here, and I'm just a citizen out there on the road, but I know that road, and it's beautiful, it's historic, and it's Caroline County, and this is wrong. A.P. Hill didn't need for this to happen. The sheriff went along with it but there was no security issues on that road. It was given to Mr. Shelton, and now he has the big gate to show that it's his. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Sneed. Is there anyone else who would like to speak as part of citizens' comments? Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Is there anyone else? Hearing none, we'll declare citizens' comments closed. And Mr. Taylor has addressed Burma Road and continues to do that, so we'll count on Mr. Taylor to take care of that. Our next agenda item is item number 4, public hearing. Mr. Fincham, this is an ordinance to amend the zoning ordinance of Caroline County by amending Article 15, Section 2, fences, walls, hedges, to add language which would allow a security fence up to 25 feet in height for public utilities, distribution, and generation sites. Mr. Fincham.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, your public hearing tonight, TXT 01-2014, would amend the Caroline County zoning ordinance, Article 15, Section 2, which under certain circumstances specific to public utilities would allow an increase in the otherwise limited height requirement for these types of structures. The Board of Supervisors actually forwarded this text amendment to the Planning Commission, requesting that they review it and hold a public hearing. The Planning Commission has referred this amendment back in this form to the board with a recommendation of approval. And with that, I'll answer any questions that the board may have.
Thank you, Mr. Fincham. Any questions from the board? And I'll add Mr. Fincham to Mr. Fincham's comments. This request came directly from Dominion Power, which is basically to ensure that their facilities are secure. I think there was one in the West Coast that was breached, and they wanted to make sure. We've actually seen this fence or samples of this fence, and it's very hard to climb, and it does block what's behind there. So I think that's it. All right, there are no questions for Mr. Fincham. We will declare the public hearing for text amendment 01-2014 to be open. Is there anyone who would like to speak regarding this matter? Is there anyone who would like to speak regarding this matter? Is there anyone who would like to speak regarding this matter? Hearing none, the public hearing is declared closed. How does the board wish to dispose of this item?
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion that text 01-2014 security fencing for public utility be approved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Seeley, seconded by Mr. Black. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the motion carries unanimously. That was our only public hearing. Agenda item 5 and 6 were deferred to August 26th. We took care of agenda item number 7. Before the break, agenda item number 8 is a request from the Caroline Care Group for real estate tax exemption. Mr. Rozelle or Mr. Upshaw, would you like to? Mr. Upshaw? I'm sorry, Reverend Upshaw.
David's my name.
I know you're retired, but still.
David Upshaw from the Bowling Green District, and I am very excited to be here tonight. I've looked forward to this opportunity. I've been working on this project for 6 years, and part of what we're trying to do involves you. And tonight I look forward to the opportunity of sharing that with you. If I might make a statement before I go through the packet that you have, we're presented with a unique opportunity to establish an assisted living facility in our community if we can demonstrate community support. I don't know of a better way to demonstrate community support than by the elected representatives of our community. The USDA has said if we can demonstrate that support, we could get an $8 million loan. How we do it, they're not specific with, but if we can demonstrate support from the community, we can get an $8 million loan to build an assisted living facility in this community to meet the needs of our community. That's why I'm excited to be here, because I believe this is a unique opportunity. And you need to know, too, that I'm not in the building business. I don't build buildings. I build community. That's what I've done all my life, and that's what I see this project doing, drawing us together as a community to do something good for our community. In order to do it, it's going to take all of us. I'm a retired Baptist preacher. There's no bank on the land that will loan me $8 million. Unless there's one here, I'll be glad to see them afterwards. But if we go together, then we can do something significant in our community. And that's what I'm hoping that we will do. What I'm wanting tonight is to demonstrate support for the establishing of an assisted living facility in the community that we live in. Let me, if I might, refer you to the packet, and what I'm going to do is I'll pretty much go through the cover letter with you, and then I'm going to just identify what else is in that packet. This facility that we're looking at developing is more than just a building. It is a place where community folks can gather. We have partnered with the Rappahannock Area Agency on Aging. We've partnered with local churches, and we have partnered with the local high school to provide training for students to have hands-on learning experiences at this facility. Those are things that we can do if we do it. If we keep this locally owned and operated, then we can make this a community resource. If we allow a management company to do it, it's going to lose that community interaction. So that's our objective, is to keep it locally owned and locally operated so that we can meet the needs of our friends and family that live in our community. There are a number of other programs that we're looking at working on to establish a community experience where this facility will enrich and enhance existing programs and will also provide services for senior citizens throughout our community. There are a number of people who have made this happen. The Board of Directors of the Caroline Care Group is composed of representatives from across the county, and we did that on purpose. Some of those are here with me tonight, and I'm not going to read all their names. You may know some of them, but Kathy McConnell, Maxie Roselle serve on the Board of Directors for the Caroline Care Group. George Atwell and Bill Thornton serve on our management team to help manage the facility. We were intentional in having representatives from around the county because we want this to be a community-wide experience. Even though it's located in the town of Bowling Green, and we did that intentionally. We were offered land along the 95 corridor several years ago. We turned that down because we felt like it needed to be in a small community that residents could have access to shopping and doctors, and residents could be a part of the community. Bowling Green lends itself to that, so we intentionally chose Bowling Green because it was centrally located. We have been given a piece of property. The Web Investment Group has donated a piece of property just behind the post office, and that we now have in our possession, and we're moving towards building on that site. We are a 501c3 organization. We have received some funding from local churches. The members of the board, the management team, and the financial group are all volunteers. We've been meeting together regularly for 6 years to tell the story and to draw our community together. The purpose of this facility is to meet needs of the community. Our intention is to make it available to as many people as possible. In order to do that, we're going to need to keep the cost low. And that's what you have in your packet. You have an overview of the facility. Then you have a rate schedule for the facility, and I might add, the rates are competitive, but they're lower than you'll find in most places nearby. And we want to keep it competitive because we don't want to do anything that would lower the quality of care that will be provided in the facility. You'll also find the pay schedule that we have designed for the first 3 years so that you could see the type of economic impact that this facility would have on our community. And then you have a staffing chart for the first phases of the facility so that you can see the number of people that would be employed. When we are full, we anticipate having 80, well, you can see the numbers, 41 full-time employees once we are at our capacity of 80. The rest of these sheets shows the budget for the operating budget for the first 3 years, so that you might have more information than you probably want to know, but so that you might know what's going on and what's involved. Our desire is to demonstrate that support from the community. And what we're asking is for a tax-exempt status for the property as a demonstration of support by the board for this community effort.
Excuse me. Thank you, Reverend Upshaw. Board members have questions? Mr. Taylor?
Yes, just a couple. In looking at what you have, Reverend Upshaw, as of now, the tax or the revenue that we're talking about is very minimal because it's just property. But once there is a building on this property, then the real estate would obviously be quite a bit more and would mean quite a bit more revenue for the county. I guess my question is, what about things like personal property, machinery and tools? Will money be generated from those taxes at some point?
I didn't follow your question, sir.
The personal property taxes, or the machinery and tools, are there other types of revenue that will be generated? I guess I need to ask maybe the commissioner that question. Are there other revenues that will be generated other than real estate taxes is my question.
Yes, there would be.
Okay, so you are not asking for an exemption from those?
Correct. We're asking for the real estate tax exemption.
Okay. That's all I have right now. Okay.
Mr. Black?
Yeah, I got several, I guess. To me, my little concern, my concern is the cart before the horse. I guess some of the questions I have in regards to this, I mean, an $8 million loan from USDA, a loan means it has to be paid back. And I guess my question is, you know, where's the money coming from? I mean, how have you guys raised, I mean, how much money has been raised in regards to that? I mean, because right now, like Mr. Taylor said, it's just, you know, $1,200 in taxes on some pieces of property that would be owed. So I'm wondering where you are, and because you said you've been working on this for 6 years. So in the 6 years, how much money have you guys raised?
We've raised approximately $40,000.
Towards a cost of $8 million.
Correct.
Now, for the people who will be staying here, does insurance cover this?
No, it is not insurance driven. This is, there are some programs available through social services, but this is not covered by insurance. This is self-pay. And the revenues to pay back the loan will come from the residents who live there. If you'll look at the budget sheets, you'll notice in the third year, we anticipate operating profitably in the third year.
Right, and I was going to actually ask questions regarding that. If you look at the sheets, I'm looking at, if you look at year one, you said it had gross operating profit of $151,721. Okay? If you look at, I mean, I'm looking at year one.
Right.
All right, and then you look at the bottom, it says your net income, it says in the first year you're losing, according to your numbers, you're going to lose $333,000. You're going to be $333,000 in the red after year one?
Correct. That's included in the loan.
Okay. But then, so then we go, I know, but then we go ahead to year two, you see your gross operating profit is $1 million. Right, if you flip ahead to year two, I'm looking at the very, you've got $1,018,000 is your gross operating profit.
Correct.
And then, so then it says your net income is $446,000.
Correct.
Okay. Then we go ahead to year three, your gross operating profit is $1.8 million. What I don't see on there, which was left out, was the net income for year three. I'm assuming since your gross operating profit went up, you know.
Do you not have a page 2 under year 3?
I do not.
No, we just have page 1.
Okay, the net income is $634,225 for year 3. $634,225.
So you're going to be making a profit of $634,000.
Correct. Now these numbers are based on no taxes. USDA is not charging any interest for the first 2 years. They're giving us a 40-year loan at 4.125% interest, simple interest. The terms for that make this more profitable. But this is a nonprofit. Any profits that are made are going back into the community to make this facility available to people who live in our community. Our desire, we're not in this to make money. We're in this to meet the needs of our community. That's why keeping it locally owned and operated, we can keep all those monies right here.
Yes, I understand that. I guess my concern is there's a lot of things out there in the county that provide a good service. You can go to a physician, he provides a good service. You can go to a dentist, they provide a good service. I mean, there's a lot of things that, and to me, and I'm just going to be upfront with you, and not that I'm not saying I'm against the project. What I'm saying is it starts a precedent in the county for any time someone comes and says, well, I provide a good service. There's a lot of things in Caroline County that provide a good service that aren't tax exempt. I mean, I'll be honest with you, that's my concern. It starts for us, it starts a slippery slope of what's the determination, what is good, and that's not the argument. The argument is when the next thing that comes along and the next thing that comes along and the next thing that comes along, it's very hard to say no.
I understand.
Okay. All right, thank you.
But I do want to repeat myself. Your show of support will determine whether we get the loan or not. Could be part of that anyway. And what we're looking for, the stronger your demonstration of support for this project, the stronger the message is going to be to the USDA so that we can get the loan.
Thank you.
Well, let me say one thing right there, because Reverend Upshaw and I had talked about this, and one of the things I promised you and said would be no problem is we are going to give you a resolution of support from the board to make sure that that is at least the start of our support. So there will be at least something there, but go ahead, Mr. Taylor.
Just one thing, but the nonprofit status of this makes it a little bit different than just a doctor or a dentist or other people who are doing a service. Most people doing a service are doing it for profit. As I understand it, this is a non-profit group,
Correct.
which I think makes it quite different. That's all right.
Nobody on the board or the management team or financial team is receiving a dime. We do have a paid consultant who has helped develop 30-some different assisted living facilities across the country, and he is helping us to get this thing started. It's a unique opportunity, and I know it's never been done before in this county, to my knowledge. But if we work together, we can make something positive happen in our community, and that's what we're asking the board for, that demonstration of support so that we can make this thing happen.
Mr. Underwood?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Reverend Upshaw, I don't think there's any question that this board supports the project whatsoever. What I hear you saying is that the only way that we can demonstrate support is through the abatement of real estate tax.
No.
And my position is always, I look at the ability to pay. We look at other taxpayers and we look at what they're paying. I understand fully 501c and why they're put into place and how you reinvest the funding and how you get to the operating cost versus bottom line profit that needs to be reinvested to indicate non-profitcy. But if you look at the money that the county would generate based on your percentage of your profit, it would be a very small percentage based on your 1.8 third year, your, I think it's 1.025 your second year. I mean, those are not dollars to sneeze at. Certainly, you have employees paying taxes. Certainly, you're generating revenue within the county. Hopefully, some of those folks, and you're creating jobs. So it is and you're providing a service for the community. So I'm hoping that we may be able to come to some other resolution about support so that we don't have to set a precedence here. Clearly, the county code is clear on agencies that don't pay taxes. We abate the taxes. So I'm hoping that maybe we could have a discussion about what other things that we could do so that we don't open up Pandora's box and find ourselves in a position where we can't support someone else. I think it's needed. I think it helps people across this county tremendously. As our population gets old, it may even help me one day to stay here in the county, which would be a plus for my family. So I absolutely support it. I'm just not sure this is the right venue to, I'm just thinking about it, just looking at the language, reading Mr. Parton's comments, and there are some concerns, but we definitely support the project, no question. Absolutely no question.
Let me clarify, if I might. The strongest demonstration of support that unless you wanted to, have a couple of $1 million you wanted to throw at this thing that we could help get started with. But the strongest demonstration of support would be to make it a tax-exempt status. But there are other ways that can be done, but that would send a very, very powerful message to the USDA if the county representatives would say, we're behind this 100%, and we want to see it happen to the tune of.
And I agree with the USDA, but there are 28,000 other citizens in Caroline County who might say that message should be sent to them that they still have to pay their real estate tax.
That's why I'm not in politics.
So and those are the folks that we have to answer to based on our trying to raise, we fight every year about money for schools and money for law enforcement and other projects.
Correct.
I would hate to see us, it's just a tough position. And like I said, it's a great project now. I fully support it, but I'm just concerned about the taxes.
You mentioned law enforcement. The USDA representative that we've talked to has also indicated that fire trucks and police cars would also be available because of this facility being here, that they would help the county in bringing other resources in to help accommodate what this might place on the county.
USDA said that?
The representative from USDA said that she would work on that, yes. That's not, I don't have anything in writing on that, but there are some other grants and other things that they can do in conjunction with this. And I know that there are all kinds of 501c3s out there. But I want to see this facility built. I've been doing this 6 years, gentlemen. And outside of cutting down trees, I don't know anything else I hate worse than standing up here and trying to do things that I don't know how to do. But we have an opportunity to get $8 million. How do we get that $8 million so that we can make this happen in our community? And I guess that's what I need from you. I need help to be able to send the message to the USDA that says, this county is in favor of it, we're together on it, we're working together, and we want to see it happen.
Mr. Chairman, my thoughts is the fact that we've heard things such as slippery slopes, and we've heard precedents and things of that nature. I'm not sure the board hasn't already set a precedent, if you really want to talk about precedents. Mr. Cully, what did the county do for McCusson, along with as far as the tax were concerned? Tax exemption.
They pay us back.
Right. Mr. Wilson would have to answer that. I wasn't present here.
But there was a period of time that they were not going to pay us back. I think it's 5 years or something. So I'm saying is the fact that if the board is overly concerned about forever, that at least we look at trying to come up with a reason or come up with a solution to the problem that these people have presented to the board tonight. And that may be that we look at a 5-year period of tax exemption for 5 years. It may be that we look at not tax exempting, but at least contributing to them in the amount of the taxes for that particular year. We have certainly set that precedent. I mean, we just tonight gave an additional $3,000. That made $12,000 we gave to the county fair. We give money to the Frog Level Parade or festival events, the Bowling Green Festival events, the Port Royal Festival events. We gave money to the Little League some years ago, Maxie, when you were on the board, to help with the lights. So if we talk about precedent, that's already been set. So what I'd like to see us do, we've all agreed, I think everybody that spoke so far has agreed that this is a good thing for Caroline County and that it will benefit the people of Caroline County. You know, the older you get, the more that you ought to see things that's going to benefit the senior citizens as well as the young people. And I think we looked at all of those. And I think that we need to try to what kind of solution we can come up with that's going to help them, rather than saying, no, we can't do it. And no, it's going to be a problem to do. There are avenues that this board can take to assist what the Reverend is asking for tonight, And it's not going to set a precedent if you're worried about precedents. But again, I'm not sure we haven't already set that precedent. But that's my thoughts, and that's, I would like to see us move in that direction rather than